Hello and welcome. This set that is about to go down. We got Daves versus Hall. The Talentless This is the first game of the upper division, and I am not alone today. I'm actually joined by Ginger Archer.
Hey guys, hey printers, I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to
I'm a
hopefully
troll, by
some
the way. I
very good
didn't
games of
unmute.
Smite.
I did unmute. Wait, I did. Okay, no, I did.
Nice and professional. Lovely
Of
start.
course, Glare Smite League. But only the
It's
best.
fine.
Only the best. Um, Yeah, this game is between Dave's and Hold the Talentless, both very good games in the upper division. Games, players and teams, bit of both, players and teams. Very good players and both sides really. Be interested to see how they do. As
Have we
we
got
can,
any sort of like standouts that we're looking for in particular in any roles that we know about?
we know Overpower got to play pretty good in the prospects. Max side of Dave's, he played insane in the prospects, like very good. He had a very high win loss, very high KDA. Played very good. Archie Baker, one of those Archie Baker, right? Trash, we all know that. Now we got Mino Kino, who's a very good player. I believe he's the mid for this team. I believe. Yeah, I believe he is. Very good at mid lane. Oh, no, it works out, right? Cordiacs also played a lot of prospects.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Interesting. We're already seeing the difference in bans between the different divisions. Where here we're seeing a lot of the sort of team fight bans coming through with the Emoja and the Cthulhu.
yeah,
Comparison to the sort of bursty mages like Ythoffs and Tzilas who were doing really well under this penetration build.
enjoy our washes.
Oh, don't get me started. Every time I play Assault, that god is the bane of my existence.
Just the best god in the game. I don't blame Low Division banning him out there. As,
Not one bit. Another interesting one, the Bologna as well. I'm wondering if there's some target bans coming out already in this.
yeah, but Luna's been pretty good. Like before the patch was very good. One of my pocket picks. I think one of the picks I picked when I wanted to win a game. Very like run it down. It gets like free pressure in the lane. We
Very consistent.
yes, and then we saw like the nerfs for like some of the items come out, and she wasn't really affected by it very much.
No, I think the Berserker's shield favors her. She doesn't necessarily need the penetration. She's just there to be annoying. She's already got the block stack, so Nemian didn't hurt her hugely.
Exactly.
And then with Berserker's passive now, she just doesn't take damage. She's the ADC's nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, I hate it because that's my role.
Yeah, she is literally the epitome of counter anti-ADC. Block stacks, she builds Hide of Nemenium. Jesus, but like, I think that did get the passive nerf, so it's not as good. But like before this patch, it was wow, like she's block stacking for days.
Yeah, the early blocks. I mean, if she's going at a hunter and she's going in with that, and she's got, say, I don't know, like a frostbound, and then she's lowering the attack speed. Those first two attacks are crucial for the hunter to get the poke in. If they don't get that, they're nowhere.
Exactly.
They're losing that fight. So the Persephone and the Amaterasu being hovered over here, which obviously good team fighting potential, and swapping it to the Kepri as well.
Yeah.
And obviously the ban on those two being played together because of the lovely bug where Persephone goes into her passive and then still revives.
Yeah, they are both banned, like playing in the same team. Because of Persephone, Persephone isn't Persephone without having some sort of game-breaking bug. It always has one. It's never not have one. Just because of how her kit is.
The spaghetti code has been there for years. But
exactly, she takes full advantage of it.
Yeah, I think the Amaterasu is a good pick into the Persephone though, because it's the sort of god that you want doing that disruption to the backline, and she can very easily stick to the Persephone with that movement speed, her dash and the silence, the CC immune ult and CC in it. It's a very strong pick to actually challenge that. But then coming in reverse, we've got the Achilles to counter the Kepri, so already you can see the teams drafting against one another. Bracken is not one you see often. I'm wondering if that's going to be a jungle pick.
Wait for the next pick. You know, Achilles, Cabrakan, both of them could play support and solo, and both of them could play jungle. So like,
Yeah,
it's like, where does that go? But either way, anywhere it goes, really, it's still an effective pick, and they're both very good. Especially into this Cappy, right? You know, you just wall them off and like, lol, you can't move, you're basically dead now, right?
I mean, either way, you're isolating someone, which either the Kepri has to ult, and if that's not someone, you know, the rest of the team fight is then carrying on from that. You're really forcing the cooldown, but the Achilles can still counter anyway with his own ultimate. And then that requires someone else to block it if you're walling them off. It's a very good combination against the Kepri, really limits his options. And then the Charybdis come out. I like this. I like Charybdis into Cabrakan. The immunity is very strong.
It's a very good pick, you know. I don't know if I would have opted to go for like a character with like a leap. Does Charybdis 3 go through walls? I think it does, right?
It doesn't. I don't believe it. You know, I don't know actually. I know it doesn't go through obviously the map walls, but I'm not sure about player walls. I've never actually been in that sort of situation.
Yeah, no, I
But either way, like,
you should just die.
Yeah,
so.
but it depends how the Cabrakan goes, and there's also the option where if you've got your team rotating, you can knock the Cabrakan out of the tremble, and that is a huge team fighting ability. I think people quite often underestimate just how much of an impact that has.
Yeah, it's good to see Charybdis back into the competitive scene. She was banned for a good bit because of a bug with her free and all, and it's good to see her back. You know, first game of this season of Upper Division, and she's in the first game. So it'll be interesting to see how she performs since, you know, we haven't seen her for a while, so it'll be good to see how it performs.
Yeah. She does do quite well when crit comes back into the meta just because of those extended autos, and with how they've changed it, you're just ramping up the amount of crits you're going to get. So I think it is a good pick at the moment, and it's got a good amount of protection there with it, so you'll just be seeing how well they coordinate it together.
The Camisot's ban, it's good ban, you know. Camisot is quite a nuisance.
Healing is a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, you're playing support and your ADC's like, pill for me. I'm like, he's in the air, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, and then once you've blown all your cooldowns, he's just sat there CC'd in a pool out healing all the damage. It's a revolting amount of healing. You can barely counter it. And we were joking earlier about the use of our Arpoche. Perfect time for it is against the Gamazots.
Exactly. You know, Camisot's kind of literally just sits on your dead body and laughs. He heals up. Quite the toxic pick. You can see her looking at Darji locked in. Both very solid junglers. You know, Darji has seen a lot of play lately. She's very, very good. Her ultimate is insane. You know, does a lot of damage, especially, you know, auto attack cancel, the one, etc. A lot of damage come out from her, and a lot of CC.
Safe as well. She's got good mobility of that 3, being able to leap to friendly targets, and also the damage immunity on her 2 from behind. And the Baba Yaga coming out. Now that is not one I see often, especially with stacking items not really being very much in the meta anymore with the recent penetration changes, so be interesting to see how this one goes through. I like the pick. Adds some interest for sure.
Yeah, I like the you know, different pick, you know, good to see. Yeah, let's see how it plays into, you know, I think it's pretty good into Stephanie. You know, she struggles a bit early, but like doesn't really get ran down by like the ultimate as much, right? Just kind of ult. That happens, I believe, right? She can ult in
the shield. She gets the CC immunity. She gets the shield as well, and the damage that comes out from that one. She's got a couple of items on that. Hurts.
That's a lot. Like, she does a lot of damage, you know, save those pots, put in your little hot bars, your little potion slot, and double tap damage, right? It hits hard, especially when you're building a lot of power. Just jump right into the game, dumb as hell.
And so, Baba there is an interesting one. It's always interesting to see when people stock up the potions, because obviously early game, they want the actual potions to stay in lane, but then with the Baba, do you actually want to use one of your own potions so you can have the extra one for the early clear? Because that is where she struggles. I know a lot of people start with the 2 in order to get that extra clear and the extra little bit of pressure so they don't get run down.
He does struggle with that early game for certain. And Persephone has pretty good actually proposed on that. So how it's played in the early game, see if it can survive the early game.
They might lose a few camps because the Loki doesn't have the best clear to go alongside it either, whereas the Daji Persephone, that we're seeing how the hunter builds can vary a bit. The Charybdis coming in with golden arrow and the tier 1 lifesteal, whereas the Hachiman going with the leather cowl, an item I quite like at the moment, I think is very strong for transitioning to late game, and then still going the pen. A lot of people not liking Crusher that much anymore, but I'm seeing it built a couple of times, and still not sure now whether it's the best item in the meta or not. We'll see how it plays out with this Hachiman and
Yeah,
how
to get that
Cordiaxis
attack
does with
speed
it.
debuff, right? And for the one on attack speed, I think it's like 15% now, which is quite a hit for ADCs, right? Especially when branch of the thing. But, you see a lot of characters going for the Death Devours Gauntlet with the Atalantas start now. Some
Actually, another
as well.
or another common one is the Devo straight into the kin size.
Yeah, that can definitely work out, sure, especially with characters like Cthulhu and that being in the meta.
Yeah, and even on looking at the opposite side of it, if you're playing against someone like a Baba Yaga with that shield, you're just going to burn it down very, very quickly. You see the Kraken blinking in with the tremble, something I expected, I've faced many times, and look how much that is shredding the Charybdis' HP just from clearing. Can't test against it.
A lot of damage coming out from Kraken there, easy wave clear as well. Just free lane pressure picking Kraken support.
Very much so, and the early use of the blink isn't too bad because you still get to take all the camps, and by the time it's back up again, you're ready to pressure with your ultimate. Actually managing to secure the back camp, so no invade coming out from the Daji Persephone, playing it safe into the low clear Baba and Loki. Solo lane all quiet so far.
Daves are gonna be oracles, quite a bit of a lead. Now every little lead counts, especially in these high level games. Every little bit of XP you can get over them does snowball quite a bit.
Does indeed, and I think with the prolificity of your early ganks now from junglers on the side lanes, getting that extra little bit of vision around Gold Fury, very helpful with your lane. You see it quite often with the jungler rotating either off to solo, and actually Daji getting poked rather low here by the Baba Yaga and the Loki together.
I think I poked that quite a bit, but should be okay for the most part.
Yeah, you can see the conduit gem from the Baba Yaga here, and that's definitely helping with that poke and the ability to clear, and potentially why we've not seen a drop in pressure.
Yeah, Baba Yaga is definitely one of those gods you have to get on early, like gods like Tiamat, Baba Yaga, they kind of need that sort of help with the wave clear and whatnot.
Yeah. And here we go, this is exactly what I meant with the Loki trying to rotate to duo lane, but it not working out with that vision. They're aware of it. The turn from the Hachiman and the Kraken, and there goes First Blood onto Cordiaxis on the Hachiman. And that's just what you want as an ADC. That early XP in the gold from the First Blood. And with the Kraken pressure, that's a purple buff invade as well.
Just exerting out pressure. Let's do a lane here. Kraken is just a mess to deal with in this duel lane.
Is indeed, and is finding ways to counter even for the Khepri. Sure, he can grab the Kraken out of the tremors, but if he does that, then the Kraken can just stun him. He preempts it with his one, or even afterwards, the Khepri's use the escape. And in the early game like this, there is very little tankiness that can keep you alive.
exactly. You try to punish the Kabak for playing aggressive, you might regret it. It's not fair, but you know.
There's very few gods that can do it well. One of the best ones would arguably be either Ymir or Yakumbakana, who flat out will stop it, but they don't then invite pressure, where something like a Sobek will do. Now we're seeing the engage in here again, that blink back up at level 5, as I said. They take out the Kepri again, but this time Loki returning the kill. We lose Cordios on the Hachiman. And an early glimmer of hope now for the opponents to the Daves, getting that kill back, getting the Loki online.
Yeah, Talentless, they get the I think they get the most out of that pick, honestly. You know, they get the ADC and they lose their support, you know. Support wise don't matter, so you know, I think they win that trade.
Yeah. An early game, actually, that's also very helpful for the Charybdis. You know, she gets a solo wave off of that of experience. That's a nice way to catch up after the Hachiman gets the early kills. Although he has already finished his Crusher. It's a good power spike for him, and you wonder how long it's going to be before Charybdis can actually get a Duvo's Gauntlet of her own.
Exactly, that is the one sort of disadvantage that gets from that kill. That you kind of be like almost an item down from it, so you have to try to get that back off when you can. For a while. Maybe next wave.
Yeah. I mean, the other lucky thing for the Charybdis, that golden arrow, providing she's getting those stacks, that's going to keep her in the game as well. I think the amount of gold you can get from that in the game very much goes sort of beyond the eye of most people. Whereas you can be down 2 levels and still ahead of gold, provided you just farm that up sensibly.
If I forgot to change screen time. Oh. Okay, change.
So interesting here, the Achilles coming out with a Blackthorn Hammer. The base health and mana on that are very, very good for solo lane, but quite often you do see people, especially on someone like Achilles, opting for that Rune Forged. Proc the one for that extra damage that they get for the poke, especially with Achilles, who is your sort of lane bully. And then maybe not so much against the Amaterasu, she's got the built-in healing, she's got the Death Toll as well. She's able to sustain very well, provided she gets through the early game, which at this stage she has now, so she's very much going to be sitting comfortably in that lane. Unless the junglers go over, I don't think we're going to see much action there.
Yeah, the Runeforged did take a bit of hit in the recent, but yeah, which may have just transferred the Blackthorn back in a little bit. But yeah, Runeforged is still a decent pickup. I don't believe they only nerfs health, but maybe like 5 power as well.
Yeah, it was taken down by about 50 health, I think.
Yeah, as we see.
We're going, there we go, seeing the Charybdis taken down by the Cabrakan on the side, and we see just how much damage it can put out. No ultimates used either, so we're not using a huge amount of cooldowns, just the Cabrakan base damage mixed with a little friend camp coming out, the Obelisk.
Yeah,
and that's enough early game.
Very well on this Cabrakan, he's playing it as you should, as you would want your Cabrakan to be playing it in Port.
Yeah, I agree, although I mean, the Thebes is good, don't get me wrong, the Aura is great. I do always like to see a Cabrakan with Stone of Binding. That item has very tasty early stats. So it's 35 protections for very little gold, and the extra damage for your team on someone so aggressive. It's very, very nice.
Protection debuff is very good as well on it. It's an item you might see on Guardians, although the support. But
if you say, bringing back from a couple of seasons back, the old solo Beck coming out and getting some pressure. A lovely version of it. Persephone in mid respecting the late game damage from the Amaterasu and the Loki, going into that what looks to be a Celestial Legion helm here. So very much preparing to scale for late game and team fights and just being able to stay alive. And Hachiman dashing in aggressively here, but he's got no support around and having to blow the ult to escape.
Yeah, risky play there, but didn't get punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, the communication and there's the Baba Yaga after the Kabrakan engaged, both ultimates used. And you can see even now just how much damage that Baba Yaga ult churns out. She only hit 2 of those ults straight on, yet half of the Kabrakan's health is gone. That's nothing to slouch at.
That ultimate does a lot of ability, especially if you hit a good amount of those. It's gonna do a ton of damage, especially in these later team fights, and like there's not a lot of space to be moving.
Those jungle team fights, the Baba Yaga excels there. Her ability to poke and the inability for people to get out of it. This is very dangerous letting that scale up. Achilles here, Loki's going in, but we've got the protection from the Daji now, and we wonder just if this is going to get turned. The Daji ultimate coming out onto 3, but 4 people there, 2 of them ulted in, the Kepri ult used, but there's not much backup. You just wonder whether there was a little bit of lack of communication there between the players, where the Achilles was out and cooldowns have been used that maybe didn't need to be.
Yeah, there was a lot. A very good RGL by Archie Baker there. That I think he hit every single one.
He did on 3 targets as well, which is very, very good skills to be able to show off in these games, even if nothing comes of it. It's going to get the other team worried about it.
Yeah, if you can continue hitting those odds, a lot of beats are being used. The Capri ult's down, right? Yep.
Yep. So the Capri ult came out on the solo. Yeah. And you can see here both junglers valuing that cooldown, the ability to ult, use their ults as much as possible. The Hydra's coming in on both.
Talking about communication, Loki also used these beats despite being Capri ult, so a lot of miscommunication it looks like.
Yeah.
Talentless.
Makes you wonder how much these teams have actually played together in scrim before the drafts came through.
Yeah,
for our part, we've been playing a bit together on our team, but we've only done 1 set of scrims. But it's just been playing the casuals, and even that is just to be able to get used to when people are going to use things, what you know is coming out. And when you see from the top teams in comparison to this, even sort of SCL and SEC, where the communications are, you very rarely see 2 things being blown at once.
Yeah, it's just first week of Glass Smite League, and like it's the sort of yucky beauty of the Draft League, right? Not all the players will know each other and their play styles, you know. They'll play with each other for the first time. Yeah, you gotta get those scrims in. Sure. I'm sure they probably play a scrim or 2, right? But you know, as the weeks go on, you'll probably see teams be more synergized.
Yeah, and alongside that, I think we'll probably see more aggression. See, if you look right now, there's not been a huge amount going on in this game. We've seen a few flickers of things, including this invade coming out right now, but you know, in the individual lanes, people are very happy to just sit back, farm up. There's not many, like, a huge number of moves being made. Although the Daji blinking in here to find the Loki and catching him. Persephone going for it, but Daji keep going, and Loki very low on health, and actually Archie Baker cleaning up with the ultimate. Persephone out there to follow up as well, but that was very, very clean take on the invisible Loki as well. Very good tracking coming out from them.
Yeah, Archie Baker's a menace in this Daji for sure.
Definitely something I will be keeping note of for future reference, seeing where the lead take us. Very good smart technical play there, seeing the Kabrakan 1 come out for the root immunity just to be able to avoid that and make sure he stays safe and get his back off.
Yeah, you see a huge contrast and difference between the lower division earlier. The upper division, the macros, the usage of abilities, etc.
Defensive mechanical knowledge. Yeah.
Especially the positioning. No one's really being caught out of position here. They're all making plays, and that's where they get caught.
It's very safe, and apart from that one Hachiman engagement on the Charybdis earlier, you notice how most of the players are only really engaging when they've got that extra backup. There's never this sort of one-on-one engagement. There's always this basis on the vision. You can see all the wards being popped around the map at the moment. I mean, looking from the bottom left of mid to duo, wards for both teams there. It's differences you see in how these teams play in comparison. There's much more knowledgeable of the map and the mechanics, rather than just thinking engage, showing that they're better. It's more sensible and almost calculated in how they play.
They definitely know how to play the smite game. It looks like they're trying to take a pirate. Maybe just baiting. There's not a lot of DPS on the end of the days right now.
Yeah, and you look on the side, the Achilles just bullying out the Amaterasu a little bit, but the Amaterasu ult coming in, and Dave's actually managed to get it. Archipelago coming in with the ult, and on the other side, Cordiac soloing Orphan on the Charybdis. So, big wins coming out for the Daves right now. They're getting a lot of pressure. Starting to find that lead, their gold lead up to 3,500 now, and at this stage of the game, 700 per player, that's nothing to slouch at. With potentially the turn here with Baba Yaga ult coming out, but no, are they going to take down the Cabrakan? No, the Cabrakan getting out the double kill from Mex on the Achilles solo.
Yeah, Capriot used on the Amaterasu on TA down there, and then, you know, Max able to execute fight the Capriot. That's one of the best things about, you know, Achilles, plus Alquan. They bypass that Capri ultimate.
Yeah, and I think the Achilles is the best one for it, because if you look, the Capri's going to be wanting to ult that backline. Without Kwong, it's difficult for him to get there without being crowd controlled, and the Thanatos, you know, is often using his execute as an engage tool. Whereas the Achilles, he's there, he's bullying, he is your backline aggressor, so to have that ult available after the Capri ult has been used is the ideal situation, and Orphan going aggressive here. You know he's got the jungle support, but not committing with the 3 of the ult coming out, but then the beads from Cordiax, and he's away. The RC sustain. Actually looking now to turn on overpowered in the jungle. The Loki very low on health, but he seems to be getting out with that movement speed. Kraken trembling, but there's no follow-up from the Hachiman, and actually now is Tanky Guro going to get caught out chasing the Charybdis. There's Kebri in the background looking for the save. The ult is not available, but got him under the tower. Stun comes out, and looks like not much coming of it. There is the rotation from the jungle. Archibeta looking for the ult onto the Baba Yaga. Monkey teammate is the pull, not going to come through because of the CC immunity, and all that action, nobody dies.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening at once, but not a lot comes out of it. Besides this goal for you, Danes are gonna get this goal for you. Ultimate by me and Kino try and zone out, but nobody's there, but obviously he didn't know that. And no contest from all the Talentless on this goal for you. His Danes get it away for free, basically.
Yeah, and I that ult from Mina King there. It's just making sure where the ult's not going to do the damage to the objective, and similar to Discordia when she was in the meta, where he'd use it for that zoning, and the Loki ult coming through to potentially kill, but the beads coming out from Mino and staying safe, and you can see how little damage they took there on the Persephone with that Celestial Legion as well. A very, very good item with that passive.
Yeah. Good be used by Persephone, and then the ult earlier was very good. Like, it's a very good zoning tool. Probably one of the best like zoning abilities in the game. No. Someone was there trying to contest it, and with a purple ink, they would have gotten very far with it.
See, interesting from the Daji here, and item you don't see very often in the Arendite coming out, but one that I do like to see. It's I mean, the amount of pure damage on it. Actually, Mino coming out with the kill on Orphan. Orphan really struggling to get into this game, and Dave's going aggressive down the mid lane, pushing in to the tier 2. They've already taken out 2. It's both carries. Archie misses the ult on the Kepri. The Kepri manages to escape, but the tier 1 going down. Although TA has managed to get one in return and over in the solo lane, but Dave's now going to be looking for the Fire Giant. You have to wonder if there's even going to be much response without, you know, the damage from the Charybdis and the Baba Yaga. Where's the sort of steal potential? You've got to hope it's the Amma, but the Amma going in very early. Beads used to get the CC immunity and the ultimate. And is it going to be enough to get them off the Fire Giant? Probably not. And also the Amma taking the life. Loki going in. Loki goes down as well, and you can see the momentum starting to swing in this game. Daji and Persephone getting out just about.
Very good synergy there. If you notice, Miyakino dashing out for Daji to be able to teleport to Miyakino there and escape that Fire Giant without taking the damage there on the
Yeah, definitely. You know,
sort of thing.
you can see that from how they're engaging now, where the Daji ult, and you can see there's just that little hold, wait to see if the beads come out or the CC immunity, but very good synergy between the jungler and the mid laner there.
Yeah, you can definitely tell they've definitely played together before in other leagues. Whatnot.
And I think you've made a good point about that, to be honest. The synergy is being shown, we mentioned this earlier, but you can see it showing more from the Daves, where the engages are calculated, they're going as a 5, whereas the occasion, the time that they managed to take out Cordy over in the duo lane was from potentially an overconfidence coming out from him. He had the power in the lane. But when they've tried to engage, it's a lot been very much the low-key ults in, and then the target uses the beads, but then nothing really comes of it. There's no sort of follow-up in the immediate time after, and you've got to remember there's a 3-minute timer when those beads are not going to be up if they're not upgraded, and to not punish that is maybe where the lack of synergy comes in and the lack of communication and maybe even trust at this stage. As you said, it's early doors, it's the first week.
Yeah, that's the thing about these draft leagues. Like, you don't want to be just drafting the absolute best players, because you can put the best players together and they won't perform well together, all the time. But if you draft people you play well with, then you have that synergy built in already, and then you're gonna get better. You have that early advantage early in the season, where you've played together before and you do well with each other. You know how each other's playstyles. So
they can start to complement one another because there's the extra understanding there. I mean, you see it like even at the very top of the game, where going into the Worlds and the teams that you wouldn't expect to win a game suddenly come through into, say, semi-finals because they've got that synergy and that trust in one another that, out of nowhere they can pull games out. And maybe they're not the best mechanical players or the best in their role, but they're able to take games off of the best because of it.
Exactly. I think synergy is one of the most important things to highlight. As a team-based game, and it really shows in the higher-level games.
It is indeed, and Persephone ult used for engaging here. The Khepri ult coming out, and actually the Achilles ult not connecting. Is the Khepri going to manage to get out here? I don't know. Archie Baker throwing the ult out, but there's a lot of division in this team fight, and in the end, Loki going down, trying to engage. I really don't understand what they're trying to get from that. Nothing was on. Now Cordy's ulting into the back line. And is Mech's going to go down? No, that shifter shield protection, as well as the bulwark shield, managing to get out. So, not the cleanest fight for the Daves, but they're managing to siege that Phoenix and gradually plug away at the objectives now. And they're probably going to move on to the Oni Fury here to get that pressure ahead of the next Fire Giant.
Destroyed the Gold Fury.
Our team has destroyed the Gold Fury. Yeah, Dave's take another Gold Fury, take the Phoenix. They have the fire. They are very much ahead. We look at the gold difference. That is not gold difference. 15,000 gold difference at 21 minutes. That is a lot of gold. That's a few items, right?
That is a lot. I mean, at this stage, you're looking at that and you're thinking, even if that's maybe a 7,000 gold difference in a ranked game, you're on the brink of an F6 here. I mean, this is punishing and. I mean, fair play. The fight, there is some element of fight back, but it is coming down to that synergy and the organisation from the Daves and the team fights, and they're just not facing that same level of adversary in the fights themselves. It seems almost easy for them to get in there, and Daji, Persephone coming out with full upgraded starters and Cordiax's, those team fighting abilities from the Hunters. Cal, this is looking very, very good for the Daves, but
Talentless not having a good game in this game. One of the set.
Stand, my brethren.
Samaterasu, and we've barely seen much of her in the past. She is solo lane, so you don't get really see him until like minute 20, and
but then
setting up pressure here.
Yeah, but then with the Amaterasu, even like we saw the early game rotation and the attempt to take Fire Giant, and there's not been a huge amount more than that. One thing that is interesting though is we look at this, the Persephone damage, 5,000, maybe not as high as you would expect, but the ults that have come through, it's been very precise. The damage has been useful. It's not just been throwing damage out for the sake of throwing damage out. It's been very calculated. It's very smart play coming out from Mino in the mid lane here. Very impressive to see.
A lot of very good ults for the purpose of zoning out, which is very good usage of the Persephone ult. Makes a lot of space control. She makes a lot of, very all-round good character. And she does a lot of damage, but you don't need to do a lot of damage. Especially when you have, your AEC and your solo popping off as they are.
Yeah, and her ability to make space, as you said, with the ultimate, and then also those plants flying through, they hurt. I mean, that's enough to sort of create that space, and it gives the rest of your team the opportunities to either get in or disengage as and when you need. She's a very good balance of utility, and I think we're seeing a very good showing of that right now. And again there, the sort of zoning off around the Phoenix, forcing out the ultimates. TA going in with the ult, but there's just no follow-up. It's just a stalling case at this stage. And in that whole time where TA is there and no one can take down Mex, now Archie's in there with the Daji ult, pulling in just the one on the Kepri, but just buying the time for the ult, for the Phoenix to get taken down, I mean. And then we can see the threat vote coming through as well. But a very strong showing from the Daves here in this first game. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep that momentum for other weeks.
Yeah, Daves are definitely looking very promising in this first set of the season. Let's see if they can carry it over game 2, It looks like they're going to stroll to a victory here. 20,000 goal lead, which doesn't really matter this game. It still does, actually, because, we see the side of Talentless right now, and they haven't got the star upgrade. Amaterasu hasn't got their 4th, 5th, and 6th item. Whilst, Dave's all their starters. They're about to finish their 6th item if they haven't already. The huge goal lead is huge.
And the other thing that I'm noticing at the moment now, granted as wards out, they haven't backed in a while, but if we look at the difference in the wards in the inventory, the vision control is very much in Dave's favour as well. And not too much gold in hand for them either, and that there just demonstrates it. All but one over 10 wards, and not that I'm biased, but that's very much the solo laner warding there that you see in many a ranked game. And maybe Mex is lucky not to have been ganked a bit more in this one, because that's the one way to punish the solo laner with no wards, is to just sit there.
Like you're back to finish his Heartseeker off, but
at this stage it's just too little too late, really.
We'll give him the pass by needed to defend this Titan here. We are looking at all Phoenixes down there, playing the map very well right now, waiting for that right lane to push in. So Power God's just a bit slack in there.
And already the Kepri ult's been forced and his ult. There's a lot of your defense gone. TA's trying with the ult into the backline. He's doing his job. And CCing the carries Gordy with a very, very aggressive ultimate in there. And the Baba Yaga ult coming in for a turn, but in the end, nowhere near enough to stop the Titan going down. Game 1 goes to the Daves.
Game 1 goes to the Daves. They played that very, very well, especially in this fight right here. They waited for the map. They wait for those fire minions to come down, pushing down that right lane. But Overpower God's just being caught out of position causes that fight to happen. And yeah. The win. Very impressive performance by the Daves. Archie played his role well. Very good Daji ult. Mex played his role exceptionally well. Probably man of the match, MVP for that game.
I think
played well too as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of the difference as well just came into the draft as well. I think what's gone on here, we've got a lot of comfort picks coming out, but if you look at the team fighting potential, it's very much lacking in comparison to the days where they've got the Daji, the Persephone, the Cabrakan setup all there, and you look in return, like the Loki ult is very much maybe 1-2 at a push target. Baba Yaga and the Amaterasu ults, they're very good for your sort of zonal control, but the Charybdis is usually used defensively, so overall, I think just outdrafted, and the sort of confidence difference was very evident as well. But a good showing from the Daves, and I think that's something they need to take forward now, keep that confidence, because it's a very impressive first game for them. And now we just need to see if they can replicate it in the second.
How the next game goes, see how all of the Talentless try to bounce back into this game after that kind of one-sided game. Side the Daves. I say the Daves, but it's Daves. And we'll go
Indeed.
into a quick break and we'll go into the game 2. See what happens there. Thank you for tuning in for the first game. See you in just a moment.
I'll take the blame. I've seen the world go down in flames. I've felt the strain of every loss I can't reclaim. Our steps retraced from when we went our separate ways. I've missed these days. I never thought we'd see this place again. I know the feelings always fade, but nothing else could make me stay. It's not too late for us to slip away. I know the feelings always fade. It's not too late for us to slip I've walked this road, the one foretold would lead us home. Our fate's unknown, but time will mend our broken bones. I've held the weight of all these years spent in decay. These times are strange. I never thought I'd see your face again. I know the feelings always fade, but nothing else could make me stay. It's not too late for I'm cold steel stainless. My glass half full. Always said don't suffer no fools. Serpents, daydream. I bite, you call me lovely. Got a sweet tooth. Gonna get the sugar from you. When they say I'm a machine gun, I take it as a compliment. Honey, you should know I can be a weapon. I can be a weapon. Come cold blood, selfish. Your words are painless. I like when I drive and feel so dangerous. They say I'm a red flag, 'cause they want it so bad. You should
Hello and welcome. We are back with the pick and bans. Yeah, we're going into the game 2 just shortly. Joined still with Ginger Archer. He didn't leave me. So that's good.
Shockingly, I am still here and not a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, no, I didn't take my. I don't think I can say that on Twitch. I didn't take my meds, so you know, maybe here's a figment of my imagination. Let's go. Okay. We got Dave's, you know, they're 1-0 up on the Hall of the Talentless. Let's see after that dominating performance as they are on the side of the bracket. So, alright, fuck it. That's fine. You know what? This is gonna be backwards. I don't wanna tell you. It's gonna be backwards. The logos are gonna be wrong, but yeah, well, that's fine. After that performance Dave's did, they can steal whoever's logo they want. So yeah, be interested to see how Talentless come back after that first game phase, dominated performance by Dave's. As we see the cleaner and Bastet bands. Ooh. Very slow picking bands so far.
I think at this stage all the talents are going to be thinking, what can they afford to let through that was
There is
played last time?
You're right, there isn't a bad. There's very much in there. I need to sort out those bosses. I kind of threw and moved from Streamlabs to just normal OBS.
Nowhere near as good.
Definitely a bonus. Next band.
Yeah. I think this is why it took longer to get those bans, because they're just discussing what caused us the most issue last time.
Right, logos are now on the right side. We see Gilga ban. It shouldn't be echoing anymore. Should be fine.
Hopefully.
Should be. Pretty bad, Archie. It should be fine now. If it's not,
Yeah, you're right, it is fine now. Sweet.
yeah. I just had what's this? Same thing, which is just silly.
You see the Agni coming in early here now. I am a fan. I like Agni. I think Agni is underplayed. One of my favourite mid laners.
After seeing Dave's play Kabrak in the way they did, I wouldn't be surprised to see it into this Agni, like straight up right now.
Yeah, like, you're right. They'd need to pick it early as well, because with the second set of bans coming in, that's the sort of thing that would get targeted out. That was played very well last time by Tankiro, so the sort of thing they need to get out and get out of the way if they're going to pick it.
Archie, or if Dave's pick the Kabrak in here in these next two picks, then I'm sure Talentless would love to pick it up.
In fact, the Emoja coming through instead, so
Also
fighting
a good-
fire with water,
It's
trying
also
to
a
trap
good
the
pick.
Agni in.
Also a very good pick into the Agni. Also works. Maybe we could see a Kabrak in solo, hell, maybe even a Kabrak in jungle.
Kabrak and ADC works.
Kabrak in AEC works too.
I've played it.
Kabrak in mid
I
just gets fair
Yeah,
hearts.
I mean, the blink tremble, you can't outclear it. There's too much pressure.
yeah, how are you meant to play against a Kabrak? It's possible.
But instead, the Chiron coming through. Chiron very good for actually for team fighting. The cleanse on the one that I think a lot of people forget about is very useful. Sort of blocks out a lot of picks as well. So you know, if the solo were to come in and pick, say, a tier here, you know, the Ares can't come out to counter it because the Chiron just cleanses. Any of the ults as well. So you know, the tier can just get cleansed, and then the tier just does whatever he wants to do regardless. On the other side, we see the Medusa very prominent in the meta, but another one that can't get away from this Umoja.
Something about Pagan. But yeah, Medusa also can't get out the Umoja. Wolves. I guess I call it Wolves because I'm really bad at ability names. I can name you all Loki's ability. Beyond that, man, I'm pretty bad.
And just because of that, you disgust me, but we'll carry on anyway for the terms of professionalism. I can't say anything, I've got a Diamond Loki as well.
Oh, that's cute.
But
The Osiris over
yeah.
here and picked. Osiris very strong, so only especially after
Yeah.
last patch, you know.
And there's the Kabrakan again, so this time probably coming into solo at jungle, but we've got a lot of walls here. Now the Osiris is good, that when he gets that passive stacked up, able to walk through the player deployables. And it does make you wonder if now on the support role we're actually going to see Monkey pick up, say, a Ganesh, just for that little bit extra personal protection, again with that ability to dash through the player deployables. A bit of respect to the Kepri coming out, so no, obviously not drafting the Achilles this time, so it does make you think that it will be mechs on the Kabrakan solo. They're not going to value that execute this time. And there's the Ganesh going, so poor monkey teammate, he's going to be trapped in with everyone else in those Yamoja and Cabrakan ults.
Yeah, we just Scylla and Organ of Fae bands coming out. Very solid bands. The Persephone already out. They definitely respected that Persephone a lot of, like, you know, not doing much damage, but also that's the ultimate is just
Indeed. It's interesting to see that they went for the Morgan ban and not say the Darji. Archie did very, very well on that last time. Although it does now look like maybe it's going to be a Cabrakan jungle with the double hunters being drafted by the by Dave's. The Chiron most likely going into mid and the Hou-Yi ADC. Hou-Yi it's a pick I like at the moment because that passive, I think so many people forget about that ability to not get crit for 3 seconds. When crit's coming back into the meta, his ability to stay in team fights and not get burst down by the opposing ADC is really quite strong.
yeah. You think maybe 3 seconds isn't that long, but when it's a 1v1 between the ADC, that's potentially about 9 auto attack.
It is
that's
indeed.
a lot of auto attacks where you're not critting.
And now all of the Talentless bringing out a lot of beads burners are looking to be more aggressive this game. Maybe the Ares and the Hoombats coming out, as well as the Osiris is very much an engaging team. They've got a much better team fighting composition compared to last time. But then the Shiva coming through as the last pick.
Just hold it now, but I won't imagine they won't swap. I won't imagine they don't pick Shiva here. Shiva's very good. Like, he came out pretty busted. He's been hit a few nerfs, but he's still a very solid solo laner. And that would... Oh, he can also play jungle too. He's very good in the jungle. I actually prefer him in the jungle. But I imagine that's going into the solo lane.
Indeed, look that way with the trades coming through. Mech's taking that Shiva and Archie on the Cabrakan in the jungle, and that'll be why the Darji ban didn't come through. Maybe they expected it, but two very good team fighting compositions here, and it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. If all of the Talentless can keep themselves in the game through early now, that late game spike they have is going to be very, very dangerous for Dave's.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out. Not a great performance by Hall of the Talentless in the first game. See if they can pull it back into this game too, as we load in. Your one works for me. Right now. Be in game shortly. Have to.
Here we go, and the pause comes out.
Game at last. So yeah, pretty standard builds so far on both teams. You see a gilded average much per year. Be interesting. You get a really good gold lead. Good style. Starting to see a lot more play after the last update. Starting to see more play of like the Vows Gauntlet, etc. Get that extra gold that you get from a passive.
Is indeed.
Very good item all around.
Agreed. Well, interestingly, both hunters going into the Crusher here, so Kordiak's trusting their support to keep them topped up with that Yamoja healing, and actually choosing not to path into much early sustain, which most hunters now in some way or shape are going for that so they can stay in lane a bit longer, get that first item online. And you can see it on the other side, Orphan's got that Death's Toll there, so they've got the sustain. It'll be interesting how that plays out, especially against an Ares which is going to be looking to be aggressive and doing that damage in lane. whether the emoji is going to be able to sustain against it enough.
Yeah, no sustain for, well, besides the Emoja, right? No sustain for Huyi, especially when the Emoja leaves the lane. He won't have Azzy just at that point, but, you know, he definitely has some confidence.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, if you're Orphan in this, surely you're looking to get that 2 off as much as possible. Though saying about the Ares aggression, the Emoji damage early, both of them down to about half, just from the poke. And
exactly, if I can get back to
aggressive Omi use there. Knocking them back in, could that spell danger for Flake? Very unlikely. And now being forced back, missing the chain though, so, and the 2 coming out missing, so lots of missed damage and lots of missed clear on the side of all of the Talentless.
A very good double stun early on in that stage.
Yeah, very.
Bubble? I got a bubble. I like bubble though.
I mean, it is a bubble, it's a bouncy bubble. And that is why I'm going to be referring to that ability as for the rest of the set, is the bouncy bubble. See Flake coming. Yeah. Flake coming with some more confident chains this time, hitting all 3. Getting a little bit of damage out on Sankiro, but completely ignoring Cordiax, who's just going to clear the wave and keep that bit of pressure so they can keep clearing the camps. Over in Solo, a bit of poke. The Osiris getting very aggressive, not being able to confirm anything, but a lot of damage coming out onto Mex on the Shiva. And that's a bit more confidence from TA, which maybe we didn't see last time. But it's been swapped around now. Look at TA's health dropping over in Solo. Pushing in, being pushed in by Mex. Mex obviously there with potions ticking and sustaining. TA just dropping. And a lot lower.
A lot of pressure coming out from Shiva here. Cyrus being out pressure is not a good sign because Cyrus kind of relies on that early pressure. And yeah, Shiva's taking it away from him.
The early actually coming through and the teleport used as well. Osiris clearly pathing into the early Berserker shield to go with the Death's Toll. You almost wonder if maybe the poke and that Bluestone clear would have been a little bit better. Just to be able to alleviate some pressure now. There's some aggression here coming out from Hall of the Talentless. The gank coming in from Overpowered. And is Cordiax going to be able to get out? No, that is first blood for Overpowered Gods, finding much more success here on the Hoombats than he did on the Loki. And much better start for all of the Talentless. They just seem to be coming out, almost coming out of their shell a bit with that aggression and finding some confidence now, actually taking the game to Daves rather than having it taken to them.
Exactly, that's what you need from this team. You need to try to lead the game, not be led. And they're doing very well in this early stage.
You just wonder if that choice by Cordiax not to go sustain in lane is maybe biting him in the backside a bit, because the Emoji there clearly wasn't able to sustain through all the damage coming through from the Ares and also from the Medusa with the anti-heal too. With that being now on the 2 and not the dash, it does a lot more damage, so the acid spray having a lot more utility than previously. However, Balgod's looking to go in aggressive again, going on Mini Kino, bringing out the beads from both Mini and Archie Baker, but Archie looking to trap the Agni, and Agni somehow flying through the gap in the Cabrakan wall. I've never seen anything quite like that before. Amazingly, no casualties, but 2 beads burned on the side of Dave's, and Overpowered really liking this Hoombat's team fighting ability. Seems to be doing much better than that assassination from the Loki.
It was a very interesting fight, you know, the Overpowered Gods initiated it at first, and it got turned on a bit by Archie Baker, an impressive ultimate that caught out. Who was it? The Monkey teammate?
It was Monkey teammate on the Agni, yes.
Yeah, he got caught out a little bit, almost going down. Yeah, it was a very interesting fight. The Overpowered Gods keeps up this aggressive pressure that he's putting onto these lanes. What he needs to be doing, especially to get those beats and try to get as much early pressure as
And alongside that is stopping the Gabrakan from having huge pressure, because when that Gabrakan gets ahead and does some damage, oh, that's scary. But Overpowered God's going in here and getting the successful invade on 3 camps, including the blue buff where Mex was. And as a solo laner, Mex, you can tell he's going to be annoyed. Maybe not as much with the breastplate on, he's got some of that extra mana and sustain, but that's a big loss of experience for that solo laner and gold. And Overpowered God's just starting to show himself a bit here.
Yeah, he's playing pretty well so far in this game. Not much else happening around the map so far in this game. You know, we've seen the solo laners like be low health. Not much coming out of it. Yeah, both playing. They're all playing for farm. They're trying to out farm each other, and these guys do just get that little bit of a lead, so then like exert some pressure.
I think it's interesting because obviously the Humbat's late game team fight, when you've got the cooldown, that's going to be very dangerous for Daves. But then Daves have got that double hunter composition. They've got the cleanse on the Chiron. It'll be interesting to see which team is able to scale into the late game better here. The Ares tending to fall off, dropping that damage, and as the emoji ult comes in here, and actually Monkey teammate dashing forward, trying to get damage off before his inevitable doom, and Mino picking up the kill. Extra 5 stacks onto the Transcendence and a 2-level lead there now. That's gonna hurt.
That was a beautiful Yamoja ult, just trapping in Agni. The only way he could go out is to dash into them. Beautiful play on geometry there.
Was indeed. And the other thing about it, you notice how it stopped the Ares and the Humbats from getting in and helping. The way it was positioned, they actually couldn't get in there to heal for the Agni or to do any extra damage. You know, Flake chose to get off and then they were blocked out completely. And now here's a fight on the dual lane. Orphan picking up the kill on Cordiax. Is there going to be a response to good beads to get himself away? Is there going to be a blink coming out? Is Archie Baker going to chase needlessly? The Emoja stun not quite hitting, and the ult whiffing as well, falling short. And the one casualty very positive for all of the Talentless on the duo side, but coming onto the other side in the solo, Overpowered Gods falling to Mex. The attempted gank, that Shiva damage obviously too much. Now Flake Slayer engaging on Tankiro, missing that second chain, and that could spell danger for Flake. Are they going to go for the dive? They're not quite. Suddenly out of nowhere, a lot of excitement in this game.
Oh, I think getting the ultimate off onto Flake Slayer there. You saw a bit of synergy between Flake Slayer and Orphan there, a little bit of synergy with the combination of the ultimates. Very impressive. Start seeing a little bit of hints of it. So maybe, you know, as the weeks go by, you start seeing it more and more. That's what we'd like to see from this team. Often getting poked out a little bit by Cordiax there.
And a big part of that Medusa's kit there with the venomous shots, the one coming out. Once you utilise those, that's a lot of Medusa's damage gone, especially when she doesn't have the ult. So for the Ho Yi, a lot more confidence. But here we go on the solo side now. Archie Baker ganking the solo, but there's a counter gank coming in. Monkey teammate picks off Archie Baker, and now it's down to Mex to tar and survive. He's got TA Overpowered Gods and Monkey teammate running at him, and Flakes coming in as well. He pops the ult for the healing and the movement speed. And there's a lot of healing. Overpowered Gods blinks in, hits the monkey, and is able to come through, and Flake Slayer picks. In fact, no, Overpowered Gods gets it with the Fear No Evil. No escape. Being overly wasted, maybe. The emoji ult coming through. Really good to secure that ult. To secure that Gold Fury. Orphan almost stealing with the Stone Gaze, the Medusa ult coming through there, but very smart play to suddenly see that they've committed 4 people to the right side, deep onto the right side of the map, and to take the Gold Fury in response. But a much more even game we've got here this time.
Definitely a more even game. Gold is pretty much the same. Yeah, they did just get the goal for, so you know, you got a little bit over the financial 200 there. Nothing looks exceptional.
Yeah, the real danger is going to come through. Look at the experience gap between the mid laners here. 2 levels down for Monkey teammate, and Agni not one to do well from behind. You know, Brainy needs to sort of stay even, let those ults start popping off and doing the damage. And against the Chiron, who's going to be able to ult and get him out of the fights from range early, it's not going to be easy for Monkey teammate to stay in this game here. He needs to farm up and get himself back involved quickly. Did alright picking up a kill on that last engagement to keep up on gold, but that's a deficit that they need to pick up on quickly.
You just. Do you see that on the pyro? Wow.
Those flying in, they do manage to secure it. TA almost there with the steal, and actually Blake Slayer engaging here, but overpowered Gods is coming in the back. He managed to pull in Mex. Mex gets the ult off in return. Ina goes in with the Chiron ult as well, and is this going to be a turnaround from Dave's? Fear No Evil trying to come through. Mex picks up overpowered Gods, but on the other side, Monkey teammate picks up Mino Kino. There's that recovery coming in, as we said. And oh, what a beautiful bouncy bubble from the Emoja to keep Flakes trapped in there. That was some high mechanical skill there. Perfectly placed on the corner. Overall, 2 for 1 for the Daves and a Pyromancer. Are they starting to find a bit of the lead like they had in the previous games? Monkey teammate just dashing through, but the bouncy bubble coming through, but Cordiac says he followed through. No, the preemptive beads from Monkey teammate. Is he over-aggressing? Is he tanky road? No, he's not got the pass. He does! The passive burn!
Just gets that kill onto Tanky Roll there. And earlier we saw in that team fight, Shiva, I feel like Talentless needs to do something about about Mexa, because he just that ultimate is so good. You can just walk into the fight and just, booty dance your way through the fight and just get free.
I love that.
It's
not there to do damage, they're there to just vibe and booty dance. That is fantastic.
Exactly, dancing on the dead bodies of all the Talentless here.
Definitely. Interestingly, and we've seen this from Mex in both games, he's picking up the Witchblade, clearly liking to shut down those hunters from getting the attacks off. Whereas TA, even in this game, whereas against 2 hunters, no Witchblade being picked up, maybe wonder if Flake Slayer is going to pick it up with the Aura, helping with the Ares passive as well, but something that they maybe need to prioritize soon with both of those hunters having attack speed online. That's going to be very damaging for the team fights.
Yeah, I was trying to point out Disco Fair, your favourite on it is the bouncing bubble. Is the bouncy bubble, okay? No one cares about the one, okay? That's the bouncy bubble.
I prefer calling it this way, it sounds fun. You can correct me all you want, but I'm gonna have my enjoyment
You
from
can correct
this.
him all you want, you're still wrong.
Exactly. I expect your opinion, except when your opinion is incorrect, and in this case your opinion is incorrect.
Exactly. Everyone can have an opinion, even if it's wrong.
No, I'm just gonna start referring to all of Emoji's kit as the bouncing bubble.
They are basically just bouncing bubbles.
Yeah, the only one that I know is her too. That's the healing waters. Beyond that, not a clue.
A good bouncing bubble. Almost hit someone, but off. Fortunately.
Yeah, you see now the objectives down, there's a little bit of a lull, but the teams should be setting up for the Gold Fury spawning very shortly. It's about 30 seconds away, and we can already see Dave starting to group a little bit. Mex is backing so he can get his items online. Archie Baker going to get that last little bit of farm so he can do the same thing. Whereas all of the Talentless are picking up their buffs and ready, and you can already see TA over there starting to emit a little bit of pressure over it, get some warding and some vision down. Interesting actually, the Monkey teammate doesn't have the Chronos Pendant, does have 20% crowd cooldown reduction, using the bombs to clear rather than the 2. TA making the decision here to start gold, but getting off of him. He's already lost a big chunk of health. Flake Slayer in the backline, as well as overpowered Gods coming in with the ultimate, doing a lot of damage. Flake Slayer just about gets no escape off before falling to Cordiacs. Overpowered Gods is out on the sides while Mex is running through on the Agni. Down goes TA as well, and poor fight here from all of the Talentless. You see the backline really not getting any protection from that Shiva, now with the Caduceus shield as well. That's nearly unkillable for them with no the Divine Ruin coming out for anti-heal and the Pestilence, but when the Ares isn't there helping, that's not going to make a difference. So a free gold Fury and a big fight for the Daves here.
4-for-1 trade right there for Dave's. 4-for-1? 4-0. 4-0 and the goal Fury for Dave's there. That is very huge. That puts them very ahead now. They have 4,000 gold lead on
And that's
Talentless here.
it's really come from nowhere, and we can see now Dave's as well preparing for the Pyromancer just to get that extra little swing, stealing away the Obelisk camps as well. And yeah, it's been a good fight from the whole of the Talentless so far, and they've just got to make sure now that they don't let heads drop. And very nice ult from the Kraken, and an amazing few bouncy bubbles from the Emoji to pick off Monkey teammate Mina Kino, picking up the kill. Just finding themselves a little bit out of position at the moment, and for all that the comp is aggressive from Hall of the Talentless and they're using that aggression well with Orphan and Overpowered Gods picking up Cordiacs on the far side. Maybe they're just lacking that little bit of backline protection in these larger team fights, and we're starting to see it coming through. Mech's running a bit rampant.
Yeah, no, that was. I didn't see that even happening. Yeah, Cordiac goes down to Monkey and the Overpowered Gods and Orphan. Yeah, just, you know, ADCs are still, farming to 20, which when they become kind of insane. And Cordiac is still out there, is still in these.
Yeah, but we can see the difference in the builds though. Orphan last time going for that Gilded Arrow was a good defensive ult, comes out from the Emoji. But last time Orphan going for the Gilded Arrow and looking to go into crit, whereas this time against the Ho Yi, where they're not going to be able to do as much damage, and the 3 tanks, we see the build transitioning. We've gone straight into the kin size. No lifesteal yet, but obviously that ability to shred the tanks coming through. And what's either going to be an RC or the Executioner coming through next as well, so that little bit of extra pen, the attack speed. Whereas the no escaping comes here from Flakes there, Beats comes out.
Yeah,
Nothing comes of it.
From Archie Baker. I think he kind of sucks at this game. Yeah, nice ultimate by Flakes there. Escape. All those beats from the Axler, and not the Emoji. The Emoji just took it.
Yeah, well, the Emoji didn't hit the Emoji anyway.
Didn't hit the Emoji.
So the Emoji coming out with the Spear of Desolation, so really sort of rushing through those extra cooldowns on the ultimate ability.
I like it, especially the passive.
Yeah, I mean, plenty tanky, 25 to 30 protections of each protection from the Pridwin, the 50 of each from the fully stacked Thebes as well. So we've got the health, we've got the tankiness. Why not build that bit of utility and that bit of pressure? And it is indeed the RC coming out from Orphan, so that little bit of sustain now. TA being engaged on here. Lovely pullback from Mex. Archie Baker's into the stun, the Tremble's coming out. And TA being forced to ult away, where none used on the side of Dave's. The rotation to sort of counteract it, but nothing really coming through. And again, we sort of see this lull where all the fighting comes up when the objectives are available, and then since then it's been the odd pick, but nothing huge. Although saying that, the Emoji ulting here and the bouncing bubble blocking them in, keeping them in the waves. TA and Flake Slayer in lots of trouble. Mina Kino picking up a double kill on the Chiron, 6-1 now. A lot of penetration with the Titan's Bane done, and that is a scary, scary sight for all of the Talentless. A fed Chiron doing that from the range. Cordiacs as well, picking up the solo kill on Orphan.
Back and forth, and I do it right now. Very sneaky too. I don't notice it, and they just get those kills onto each other. We do see pushing down solo lane right now are the Daves.
Getting that tier 2 tower, a lot of gold for the team there, and a lot of map control as well. The tier 1s do. They have some good game, but that tier 2 really makes that difference. That ability to push towards the Phoenix and open up the map a lot.
Yeah, that Emoji ult was huge earlier on. If we go back to that, it was very huge, and it just down the entire front line of all the Talentless here.
Did indeed. I mean, the Ares is is not exactly lacking for tankiness, but absolutely flown through as if there was nothing there at all. And you can see the level deficit coming in. Tankiro just demonstrating why Umoja gets banned still at the highest levels of the game. Really, really great performance here.
Yeah, Max in this game is playing out of his mind right now. That Shiva
Your
is
team
a
has
very good pick
destroyed
for
the
him as they
Gold
do pick
Fury.
up the gold lead, just to extend the lead even more. Almost a 10k goal lead. We're at an 8,000 goal lead right now. That's the wrong tab. Yeah, about
Not
an
quite as
8,000 goal
bad
lead.
as last time for Hall of the Talentless, where this stage they were sitting at 15,000, but getting
Yeah,
to the stage now where it's almost unassailable to recover for this one. And Dave's just asserting that bit of dominance, but positives for Hall of the Talentless. They came out fighting, and you know they looked like competitors for 10-15 minutes of this game, but Dave's just showing that prowess and
just one team fight at the goal lead kind of turned this whole thing around. Audia's getting that kill onto Orphan there. Plague Slayer gonna get caught out. Great Yamoja Wolves. Mino King are gonna get that kill. So it looks like they're either gonna go Fire Giant, they're gonna go to Fire Giant. It is very much free for them for the taking. Not much
Core as
more the
well.
Talentless can do.
Three alive. They could push the Phoenix, but they've got no minions, and those Phoenixes are still going to hurt. Remember, these built tanks are only 3 to 4 items deep in their builds, except for Mex, who's just obliterating everyone for gold. TA has been spotted. Is there around trying to go for the steal, but
Destroyed the fire giant.
just a little bit late on the 2. Having to vault away to buy time, but Dave's not really pushing for anything anyway here. Nothing else hugely on the map, just the Pyromancer. And they'll be happy to reset, start their push down mid and well, what is to them right lane.
The get as much farm as they can whilst they can, whilst they're not pressured into their own base. Hall of Talentless. They're just trying to get all this gold and XP that they possibly can before, you know, Dave's come charging down their towers and their phoenixes.
And they need to at this stage because Dave's are going to be looking at this. There's still 3 towers up, so they're not going to be pushing too hard right now. They're just going to want to get those towers out of the way. So all of the Talentless very much need to get the farm that's available and then just almost concede these towers. I think Dave's are at a point now where they're too strong. They need to hope to be able to try and get some picks, or otherwise just go for these Phoenixes, try and keep those alive. Stay close to the base where they can regenerate and heal up for these fights. Because that Fire Giant sustain on the side of Dave's, as well as the pressure coming out from the Double Hunter, the push is going to be very quick.
So often a little bit too close to comfort there. Shiva coming from the jungle is able to just walk out there. Thankfully, we see only Medusa here alone on the Phoenix. Could be a free Phoenix here for Dave. Just a bit
Yeah, although
off on the
Overpowered
timer.
God's looking at the side, but Mex has spotted it zoning out, and that Shiva is very scary at this stage. A good mix of damage with the upgraded Bluestone Pendant here. Very, very tanky looking, either for that Spirit Robe or Mantle of Discord last. And just applying so much pressure in this game in comparison to TA on the Osiris, who's doing his best to push that backline, but really not causing them many issues. Dear Archie Baker breaking in, a really good wall coming up from the Emoji. Actually, Overpowered taking out Tank Hero, but a lot of resources blown just for the support, and there is Mex diving through with the ult, pushing into the backline. And we've got 2 down already for Hall of the Talentless and having to reset. Mex, in fact, takes our Monkey teammate in the base. And that goes down the mid and the right Phoenix. There goes Overpowered Gods, and I very much doubt TA is going to be able
That's
to
an
defend that.
F6.
There is the game through. So, 2-0 sweep for Dave's, and a very, very positive performance from them.
Yes, a very clean 2-0 sweep by the Dave. One of the very best teams in this upper division. One of the definitely a contender for the championship for sure, especially in the mid-season and then eventually the finals tournament. Not too bad of a performance though by Hall of Talentless. They did hold their own for a good while in in those early stages of the game, that definitely gives some glimmer of hope, right? Because it's very early in the stage of the season, the first game, proper game together, very promising, and maybe throughout the season they can definitely be challenging the Dave's team once
Yeah,
again.
course, so there were definitely glimmers of hope, and again, it came from sort of Overpowered Gods getting those early picks, and then it came to the team fighting, and while their composition was very aggressive, they never really got to be aggressive. Meg's just disrupting that backline too much. But they seem to be a very well rehearsed team. They seem to know one another well in comparison, and I think that is the difference. But then it could also just be the pressure of playing in a tournament. There's the prize to be had, and there's a name at stake to some extent here. So like there's other things that could be coming into play that over the weeks we might see sort of ease up. But definitely a much better performance from Hall and the Talentless in game two. But Dave's looked very commanding. A very good start for them in this upper division. I think Mech's definitely the MVP for them over the two games. It was
Oh yeah, game one
incredible
and two.
disrupting that back line. Yeah.
Max played out his mind, especially in this game two of the Shiba, just not letting Agni use combats get into the game, just not allowing them to do what they need to do to help in those team fights, which played huge dividends when it came to team fights.
Yeah, indeed. And it let Tankiro show off a bit as well in with some of those emoji ults and the plays. It's very, very good. And as has just been pointed out by Archie Baker, very consistent 6 wards from Mex. You might want to start working on that because the rest of his game is very impressive.
Hey,
He
you don't
seems to be
need
letting
wards when
others.
you're just killing everybody. There's no one to ward when there's no one on the map.
This is true. He looked at a stage where he could almost 1v5 in that game.
Yeah, I have to say, Shiba's very strong and Max is very strong with it. Definitely maybe a target ban for the future, teams that play against the Days, maybe they don't want Max on that Shiba.
Maybe, but then the Achilles was also so strong. I mean,
Yeah, Max is such a
so
strong player. Maybe just ban Max. Just ban Max.
yeah, ban or hire him a personal chef or a very suspicious box of donuts that has nothing in that could give him food poisoning. And not that I'm giving anyone ideas here.
Yeah, maybe try to schedule around when Max is not available.
Yeah,
Maybe
Mex, when are
that's
you
very
not
good.
available? Just for the help of the other teams, giving them a fair fight.
Maybe they need a 9 a.m. set on a Monday or something.
Yeah, that would probably do it.
Yeah, that was a very good set. Very good, first game of the season technically. Very good burst, opening to the upper division, see what we can expect from these two teams. And I'm excited to see next week when they both play. I'm excited for tomorrow. We got a game tomorrow, I believe, maybe even two. I don't know. Well, am I the owner? I don't know what games are. There's one on Monday. I know that because certain teams are troll and decides to schedule on a Monday.
Sorry.
Um, um, yeah, it'll be a good, a good. It was a good two sets that we watched here. The low division, bit of trolling, here and there. Very dominating performance on both sets, low division and the upper division.
Yeah, I definitely agree there with maybe some more humorous events coming out within the lower division games, but I think that's what the split in the divisions is for.
Yeah, it was definitely a very fun set to watch, and it's been a fun two sets to watch as we will conclude this stream now. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to join the Discord and maybe be in the future league seasons or be picked up as a free agent at some point. The transfer window does close on Monday though. Up until after mid season, it will open for another week. So if you want to be picked up pretty soon. Yeah. Thank you for coming, joining. Thank you, Ninja Archer, for joining me for the second set. Good to cast in with you.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys hopefully tomorrow, maybe the next day, maybe every day. Who knows? See you. Thank you.